Well, hey there, and welcome to the Experience Podcast. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Danlee. We are two besties hanging out and sharing our experiences in a friendship.
So sit down, get comfortable, and enjoy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Experience Podcast. Tonight we have Elizabeth Arnella Toynes with us for an exciting interview. From being a barber in order to fund her degree, to supporting a tech startup, to making an unexpected home in the sign industry. As the co-owner at Studio DZO, a sign studio based in Austin, Texas, Liz has built a solid team. Outside of the studio, she co-hosts along her dad Behind the Signs. That's fun. With whatever time or energy she has left, you'll likely find Liz making an escape to the happiest place on earth. Where is the happiest place on earth, Liz?
What? Disneyland.
Yes!
Talking about it is the happiest place on earth. It's not an opinion, it is fact.
Okay, agree. I just needed to get that out there.
Yes.
Welcome to the
Hello.
show. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, of course, it's so good to see you guys. It's like
Yeah.
full-fledged adults now.
We
Weird.
are. We are. Last time we saw you was at Floyd's Barbershop,
Yes.
which is where Danlee and I met,
Yep.
being receptionist there. But you were a barber there. You were a full-fledged barber with the straight razor and everything.
Like
Yes.
a very good barber. Like everyone
Thank you.
there would be like long waiting lists for Liz. It was crazy. People were calling and fighting to get on Liz's books. It was nuts.
Yeah.
It's the
He was
perfectionist
packed
in
all
me.
the time.
Yeah. Yes. Leaving that was not easy. I had to like transition everyone off to different people. It was
Yeah.
wild.
Wow. Okay,
But-
so that's something I was going to ask. You're not practicing as a barber at all anymore? Not
I
even
still
special people?
Well, I still cut my husband's hair and I still cut my mom's hair because she's
Aw.
my mom. Yeah, that's it. I actually I stopped in 2020 though with the pandemic. I was still doing it up until 2020.
That makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but then when I left and we didn't know when we were going back, and then my business was a roller coaster, so I just didn't have the time to commit anymore. So here I am.
So tell us more about your career transition from barber to sign business.
Yeah, so as you guys know probably from Floyd's, pretty much the whole time I was at Floyd's, I was in college. And that started, so it was like 2 days after I started Floyd's, I lived with my friend Rachel, and her mom, who was a career hairstylist, came into our house and she had a cast on her arm. And we were like, what? And she had fallen off a horse and broken her arm. And they live in Tabor, which is like very far away. Bryan, College Station, basically. It's not a huge town.
Okay.
So they live like going into town is going into College Station. So they live even outside of that. And so she had to have surgery on her arm. She like broke it right here.
Oh my.
And she just came in and she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I never had a plan B. This is all I've ever known. It's all I've ever done. And it sent me into a panic attack. No surprises there. It sent me into a panic attack and I immediately applied for college, which I had done earlier, and I'd kind of put it off and then reapplied to St. Ed's, where I went to finish my bachelor's in accounting. Yeah, so I did that all through Floyd's, and then I transitioned out of Floyd's like right before my graduation
Wow.
and went to a different barbershop, which I didn't stay at for very long because I transitioned very quickly into an accounting job. I was hired before I graduated.
Uh-huh.
It ended up being like the worst job I've ever had. And if you think Floyd's is bad, it was nothing. I got hired as a staff accountant, which in accountancy means I'm just doing like payroll and interior accounting. It's not like payables or receivables. So I'm not dealing with the outside. I'm just dealing with inside. And I had a controller over me, and the controller's like kind of oversees everything. I think I was there for 5 days and she walked out. And they were like, so you can just be controller, right? And I was like, I graduated 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
No. Yeah, kind of. Because I'm, a perfectionist and I like to aspire to do lots of things. So I was like, okay, sure, I can be a controller, thinking I was working at a company of, like I said, I was employee number 6. So it was like a really small company. I was there for 9 months. And by the time I left, there were, I think, over 300 or 400 employees. I don't remember now. And I was
fast growth.
startup.
Oh yeah, it was insane. And I was HR, I was benefits administrator, I was the only accountant on staff. So I was doing payroll for over 300 employees, but I was also onboarding all of those employees and managing all of their health benefits and PTO, like everything. So I was doing the job of so many people for a salary that is laughable. Like we're talking like under 30,000. Like, of course, that was like a lifetime ago. So I'm very old now, so that was a long time ago, but still
That's
it was
still really low.
It was really low and good. It was a good salary for what I got hired for. It wasn't a good salary for what I ended up doing within like a week of being hired. Yeah.
Good grief.
So I left there. And this is where the prodigy comes into play. So I don't know if you guys remember Stella from the barbershop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I ended up moving in with her sister-in-law and brother for a while. I was their roommate, Lauren and Isaac. And Lauren's sister is a woman named Isabella Rose Taylor, and she owned a fashion company. And when I got hired, I think she was 13. So my boss was 13, and that was wild. It was
that is
a lot
unique
of fun.
situation.
Yeah. Very unique. But a lot of fun. Again, I was the only accountant, but it was only really, I think, 4 of us total. And that included her mom and her dad, who was a nightmare, but her mom was great. But things like at the end of meetings, it'd be like back to twerk, and people would twerk. And it was just it was like such a different environment. Yeah. And we worked in Terrytown. And at that time, my husband now, he looked at me, we were living together, and he was like, you're miserable when you're not cutting hair. So can you like work it in that you can cut hair once a week? And so I did. And I ended up going to Terrytown Barbershop, which was like walking distance from where I worked with Isabella. And
Perfect.
It was great. It was very horrible barbershop. Horrible.
Who knows?
Like
That's surprising.
horrible.
Terrytown is a nice area. You would just assume
yeah.
that they had like good businesses.
You
but-
would. Yeah, you'd be wrong. No,
know.
the people that worked there were so good. It was just super outdated, and the owner just wasn't, like, she didn't understand what you needed. Like, it was more of a salon than a barbershop, which is fine. It just wasn't, like, stellar. But I got to retain, like, some of the more important people to me on my book. So I reached out to them and let them know I was back, and it was like a line out the door at that point. It got a little intense. I was working, it was every Friday. And I would work like morning, like open until I was like the last person there. We had closed 2 hours ago, and I was still cutting hair.
Doesn't surprise me.
No.
That's who you are. That's who you are. Okay.
Yeah.
But so tell us, how does this all tie into the sign business?
Yes. So I grew up in the sign industry. That's what my dad did. He owned one of the largest manufacturing facilities in Austin and surrounding areas when I was pretty much like my whole childhood. So I worked in and out of this industry. For like anyone that has an entrepreneurial parent, I had every job that he could have an excuse to make me do. And as a teenager, I was like, I'm never doing this ever again, you know.
That's
and
crazy. We never heard you talk about any of this, or not that I
No.
remember. But
no,
absolutely not, right? But it
hated it.
Yeah.
So as Isabella was getting older, and she was kind of like she was already in college. She was in college, but she graduated college before she was 18, I think. I mean, she was very smart. Made me feel so
Prodigy.
great. Yeah. Working for a prodigy does wonders for your self-esteem. She's really nice though. Anyway, so my dad had started another sign company with a guy that probably wasn't a great partner for him. So they had started it just like entrepreneurs do. If you know any, they're just kind of fly by night, and they'll come up with an idea and it's like, we're doing it. And so he called me. It was right around the time so his books would be due for taxes, and he was like, shit, we never really did, like, they're a mess, we need help. And so he kind of yanked me back in by saying like, hey, can you just help us with the books? come on, and I'm like, fine, but I'm not doing anything else. And then next thing I know, I have a full-time job with him, and that's what I'm doing. And I was so angry about it. But my dad kind of was like at the point where he had developed a sign software. Well, he owned his other sign company, and it was really taking off, and he kind of wanted to focus on that. And my husband, on the other hand, was working for Dell Computers. He's probably about 5 years into his career there, and he was finding himself working. He was on their brand team. So he helped develop Dell's brand standards back when he worked there and really kind of rolled that out. And so his background is design, graphic design, and then my background obviously is accounting and then science.
They'll make a great match. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So he came and was like, hey, I see this opportunity to kind of change the sign industry, because there was this issue in the industry where sign companies didn't charge for design. So they're basically providing spec work to people for free, but it's taking hours and hours of time. And also this is someone's like in specialty. They have to pay to go to school to know how to do these things, and they're just giving it away. And so we were like, well, that's stupid. You should charge for that. That would be like me giving someone a haircut for free to convince them that I should cut their hair. Like, that's what if they never come back? Like, that's, and then these people would like, they like would take the designs and bring them to a bunch of different companies to get bids for fabrication. And then it was just like stealing someone's work.
That's
and they'd
terrible.
never, but that was industry standard. So we have, I would say, successfully changed the industry standard. Almost all sign companies charge for design now. And we really headed up that effort.
That's very cool.
My husband was like, we should do this. And I was like, I told you that I never wanted to work in this stupid industry. But here I am. I love it. I have a great team, though, and that makes like all the difference, really.
Yeah, you seem happy. So it's really cool that it worked out. And I was skimming your Instagram, and the signs are cool. Like, and when I first started looking into this, I was like, okay, signs, like, what is this? And so I started looking more, and I'm like, oh, this is actually very, very cool. Like, you can have a lot of creativity, it looks like. You've done some cool stuff.
Yeah, I think some of my favorite stuff is the smaller stuff. Like, we did this sign that we never really talk about, but we did a sign for Dell in their suite at Round Rock Express. And it's a neon sign. And on that sign, we, like, by hand took apart old Dell computers and motherboards and like patterned them on the sign before it was painted, and then also got a real baseball and real baseball turf, and like all of that is integrated onto the sign, and then there's neon on top of all of it.
That's incredible.
And to me, it's just awesome. Like, I can't come up with this stuff. I can take zero credit. I'm just the one that's like, that will not work, but this will. Like, this is how we can make it work. Or please don't do that to me. I'm going to kill all of you. So it's like,
sounds like a good partnership.
Yes. Yeah. Great partnership.
I like the balance there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so why ZO? It's spelled DZO.
Yes.
So it's an animal, but why did you guys choose? Explain to us what this animal is, what it means to you, and why you chose it. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I can take zero credit. I'm just like the cheerleading squad for this stuff. I'm just the one that's like, that sounds great. So my husband, Russell, is super heady about design. Like, he likes to have a why and a reason behind things. It's how he starts everything. And it doesn't really like creatively click for him until he can figure out that like meaning. So he kept looking at it like, okay, we're a sign company, but we're also a design company. So it's two different industries. And in this industry, like, signs have always been like the bastard child of design and construction. Like, they're just a redheaded stepchild that no one wants to deal with.
Yeah.
So he was like, but we're better because we're design trained and have a sign background. So, we're better than the sum of our parts. Well, the ZO is a yak and a cow hybrid that's bred in the Himalayas. It provides or produces more milk than cows, and it's stronger than a yak, so it can carry more weight up the Himalayan mountains. And so they breed it specifically just to be stronger than the sum of its parts. So for him, that was like that. There it is. And
the click.
Here we are. No one can pronounce it, but that's okay.
We experienced a similar thing with the experience-ship. Everyone's like, what? But
I love a good portmanteau, so I'm here for it.
You and Brittany, that was all Brittany, so no credit for me.
That was in my head.
It's okay, Danlee. I'm the cheerleader too.
I'm a great cheerleader. I love that. Okay, so we want to know about the podcast. Like, this is what really caught our attention. You know, we're obviously like social media friends and everything, and so we start seeing these clips of Liz pop up, and we're like, "What is this?" And so, anyway, super cool. Will you tell us about your show?
Yeah. So this is my dad once again somehow wrangling me in to do something that I didn't really want to do, but he's so good at it. He's so good at doing that. Anyway, so he kind of had this idea of starting a podcast that's educational because the sign industry, one other fact of it is it's very much a trade type industry, but there is no license or degree outside of like there are specific licenses for welders or like some of the fabrication pieces, but there's no degree or education for the sign industry as a whole. It's something that's really lacking. And so how it's been taught is just passed down generation to generation, which as a younger generation in the sign industry, that creates a lot of problems, especially in America right now. It just creates a lot of bias and issues for minorities or women trying to get into the sign industry, right? So I started kind of talking about this a few years ago. I won a couple awards in the industry. And when I did that, I was starting to talk about how we need to start, you know, providing education to people so that way they can learn not just through people that have been doing it forever, but just a formal education path for this.
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I used the platform to talk about. And then my dad came to me and was like, we could do that. I'm like, absolutely not. Yeah, here I am.
That's really incredible. I mean, that's so, okay. Tell us about the awards. Like, what awards did you win?
Oh,
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I won, I think it was 2022 or 2023. I won one of the top 5 women in signs in the U.S. and Canada. And then I also won, that same year, I won like the silver medal for top young professionals in the sign industry.
I love that.
That's
so great.
Overachiever, man.
I
Perfectionist.
love that. That's like very motivating.
Yeah.
For me, like personally.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent.
Great.
Get dragged into an industry you hate and then win awards in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
You're telling us that's the secret to life now.
That's the secret sauce.
Yes.
So what credentials do people in the industry typically have? Or, I mean, what would you suggest? Like if someone came to you saying, I want to do this, what should they do to get into it?
Depends on what part of the industry they want to get into. Mm-hmm. I will say being in the sign industry for fabrication and installation, the great thing about not needing a formal education is that there's a very low barrier of entry. So it offers employment to a lot of people that maybe couldn't have the path to employment elsewhere for a career, like a full-on, you can grow and learn once you're in it.
Yeah.
There are different pieces to it. So if you want to get into like more of an office environment in it, I think, of course, you can be an accountant or, you know, get a design degree. Salespeople is also another great way to get into the industry. And then once you're in the shop, there are different trades that you can have that will just certifications that'll help you kind of grow as you're in it. The problem is right now, like an overarching education about signs still doesn't exist. We have a couple things that have started. A good friend of ours, Wendy Graves, she's created a Make It Happen Signage Academy is what it's called. And they kind of go on, I think they have some online programs, but they do also in person. They travel around the United States and pick different shops and they'll do workshops that'll teach you the basics of like building parts of signs or just the types of signs that exist.
Oh, cool.
That's very cool.
And then other than that, like we, on our podcast, we actually focus more on the entrepreneurial side of it. So because both of us have started companies and worked through all of the issues that is owning a small business in this country. Yeah. It is not easy. And there are so many things that people don't tell you. So that's a lot of what we focus on.
Yeah, that's great. And what was the name of the podcast again?
Behind the Signs.
Behind the Signs. Great. Okay. So the teaching and development, so you've won awards, you're obviously inspired. Do you see that being something that you would want to pursue more, teaching individuals about any certain aspects of the business?
No. So my husband is also a professor at ACC. Big shout out to ACC. We're a big fan. I know you guys talked about it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
on your recent episode that I watched, and I was just like, yes, pump ACC. It's such a great college, really. Our daughter goes there, and she loves it. And for her, she's hard of hearing or legally deaf, so it's nice that they are just so accessible for everybody.
That's
Wonderful.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started at ACC too and loved it.
Yeah, so did I. I loved it. I keep telling my daughter that, like, my favorite class was yoga at ACC.
That's
took
awesome.
yoga at ACC too.
It's a great class.
I took yoga as well. Yeah.
It's my favorite to date. It was great.
They take like people, right? You can still sign up for classes.
Anyone can come. That's literally what it stands for.
Yes. Anyone can come. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to look into that a little bit.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what's one of your favorite projects that you've done?
Okay. So when we first started our business, so do you guys know Haley Cakes and Cookies?
Yes. Love them.
Okay.
Yes.
Me too. Shout out to Haley. I know she's super pregnant right now.
Really?
So maybe she'll even have a new baby by the time she hears this. But
congratulations, Haley.
Yay, Haley.
Congrats.
Oh, I was a big fan on Instagram. I used to follow her all the time. And when she opened her second Austin location, the one on South Lamar, because I never went up to the one, I guess it's probably closer to you guys because you're super up north, but the one on 620.
Like the west. Yeah. Yeah. That's where we've been.
So I'd never been to that one, but I watch her on Instagram all the time. It's like my meditation. I just could watch her. Oh,
icing
it's beautiful.
Cakes. I love it. I was just talking about icing cakes in one of actually the one that came out today. We had an episode that came out today about just us and our interests. And one of my interests is baking. And so she's one of the ones I follow, and Paige's Bakehouse and a few other like local bakeries. Yes. And I just love the icing and the decorating, and I'll just scroll. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Like between that and dogs on Instagram, I'm set. Like that's all I need in life. The algorithm knows me very well. Like I open Instagram and it's like, here's your 7,000 dogs of today, Liz.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I love that.
That's what I need. So, okay, she was opening her South Austin location. This was like, gosh, it had to be right at the beginning of our company. It was pretty close into the beginning of owning our Studio DZO, our sign and design studio. And I went to the opening, which was during business hours. I also want to note that I drug our PM with me. I was like, no, you're coming with me. You're on the clock, so let's go. She loved it.
I'm sure,
yeah.
I would love to be paid to do that.
I know. We also stayed on the clock one time to go pet and hold baby goats, but that's another story. Anyway,
are you hiring?
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, if you need a salesperson, I'm right here.
So we go down to the opening. We stand in line. We're like one of the first in line. So we get the little gift bag, and Haley's out there, and like we go inside, and there's the little like printout, like 8.5 by 11 piece of paper printout just taped to the wall of what looks like they wanted to be a wall graphic. So like a really big wall print. And I was like, hey, do you guys need some help with your wall graphics? Because we do that. And they're like, oh my gosh, yes, like we totally do. And I was like, listen, I'll do it for 100% trade.
That's awesome.
Costs not covered. So I go back to the office and I was like, Russell, I sold a job. And he was like, that's great. Like, I didn't expect that. And he was like, well, what did you do? And I said, I sold the wall graphic and we're going to install it and print it. And he was like, awesome. How did you sell it without quoting it? And I was like, well, that doesn't matter because I did it for cookies. So
Okay,
I
the
think,
cookies are insane though. They're so good. You can
bro,
eat so many of
they're
them.
so good. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
So
because I did
I
it
think
for
it was
cookies.
like $900 in cookies that they gave us in gift cards. But it did end up being
Wow.
awesome because back then we used to do what we call dog and pony shows where you like go to, we work with a lot of interior designers and architects who are usually a lot of young women around my age. So we go to these, big firms, and usually when you do a dog and pony show, only a couple people show up. But
Mm.
we got the reputation of the people that bring Haley Cakes cookies. So our dog and pony shows were filled. Like everyone was there. They were like, get me these
Oh,
cookies. It
Oh
was
my
great.
gosh.
that.
Yeah. We
I
also
believe
used
it.
them for like end of year gifts and all of that. So
It's
it ended
perfect.
up working out.
Yeah,
that's
we
great.
we get her cookies a lot for birthdays. We've gotten
Mhm.
several of her cakes, but I, started baking, so we haven't gone to get as many cakes since I started baking. But the cookies, I've never baked cookies, so I just feel like there's no need to even try because hers are the best.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
absolutely.
really good. I love that you got to work with her.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
we've actually done all of her other locations since then, like all of the signs for them and kind of
Oh,
helped them
wow.
develop that. They already had a mark, but we kind of developed it into what could be used for signage. So there was a while there that it was literally like I've been in the backs of the stores. Like her dad, Larry, is hilarious, great guy. He
Uh-huh.
loved us. And
I
like,
want to know them.
yeah,
I want
they're
to know
so
Haley and
nice.
Larry. That's
They're the
awesome.
same person. It's hilarious. Like the
Aw.
laugh is exactly the same, and it's great when they're in a room together.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but we would like, I mean, free cakes, free cookies. Like, just do you guys want them? Take them. My daughter's birthday cakes were always giant Haley cakes with so much cookie dough on them. It was unbearable. But
Aw, that's the best. That's
yeah.
the best. Well, I just have
God.
one last question. I'm kind of wondering, what does your day-to-day look like in your role right now?
Well, I'm the owner, so my day-to-day is pretty wild. It usually starts with a run so I can get all my aggression out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I did pick up running through the pandemic, and with my dad just did my first marathon in January.
Yes, I saw on
Congratulations.
Instagram. That's so
Thank
exciting.
you.
That's
Yeah, I'll
amazing.
never do it again. It was great.
Wow, what an experience. And with your dad,
Yeah.
you and your dad seem to have a lot of great experiences together. That's awesome.
We do.
Like,
We're super close.
yeah, amazing.
That was his 20th marathon and my first, and both of our lasts, I think. So
Really?
we're good. Yeah. I think we'll stick with halves. I've done a few halves with him, and I'm good. It's
Just
half
a
is a
few
great.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Half
few
is a
halves.
great distance.
You can say you pulled through on a full marathon, though. That's great. That's more than a lot
Yeah.
of people can say.
Yep.
A lot
we've
of people
pulled
can't
through.
say they've done half a marathon. Good grief. That's
I
awesome.
definitely can't.
Yeah, it's fun.
for you.
It's a great way to just like work my aggression out or just work out stress and kind of meditate a little bit. So that's usually my morning. And then typically we have some sort of morning meeting, or at least 3 days a week we do. So I'll talk about those 3 days because the other two I'm kind of lazy and shouldn't talk about it on the air. But those 3 days, we typically have a meeting that one of us is leading. Yeah, we talk with our team. We have a team. We have my husband and I, and then 5 other people. We're all remote since the pandemic. We went remote. And then since we're so small, we asked our team, like, hey, do you guys want to go back to an office or do you like working from home? And unanimously, of course, they liked working from home. And we were like, cool, let's work from home then. So that is what we do. No need to force anyone back when everyone's doing a great job where they are. So
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
wish like more people would take that. Anyway, so we usually have a meeting in the morning and then just kind of kick our day off. Our days are honestly full of meetings, like all day, every day. And when I have downtime, I'm either I kind of oversee all of the projects that are going on once they're out of the design phase. And even through the design phase, I just kind of have a bird's eye view on everything ongoing, which I think right now we have like 40 open jobs. So it's like, for a small team, it's fun. It's a lot of work. Last year was a pretty banner year, so we've kind of been steady growing since the pandemic. The pandemic was insane and unprecedented, and I know everyone suffered, but we are so proud to say that we didn't furlough or lay off anyone, and we even hired our intern during the pandemic, like hired her as a full-time employee instead of an internship, even though the internship is also paid, because internships should be paid. Anyway.
Yes. Agreed.
I agree.
We'd like to say, like, Russell and I agreed that in the pandemic, if anyone was going to not take pay, it was going to be us, because our team had stood behind our dream since day one, and they needed us for the first time, and we weren't going to let them down. So we did everything we could. We pivoted as much as we could and, like, really focused on social media and just getting our name out there. And then people heard about us, and it just kind of went bonkers. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all are unique.
Yeah.
That's really special. I mean, there's so many, businesses that can't claim any of that. And that's certainly something to be very proud of. Like, awesome. I commend you.
Thank you. Awesome. I actually think my most proud moment in being this business owner is last year. We have a conference every year that we're actually about to go to in a couple months. And every other year it's either in Vegas or Orlando. I'm not a Vegas fan, but I am an Orlando fan because
happiest place on earth.
That's right. And we took our team to Disney World the day after the conference. We took them all to Magic Kingdom.
Oh my gosh.
It was like the most proud moment. No. It was so great.
Wow. That's incredible. Yep. Y'all are definitely some special individuals in the entrepreneurial space, like, for sure.
We really are. It sounds like you've got your team's back no matter what, which is very rare.
I think I can attribute some of that to working at places like Floyd's and seeing how to not do it.
Right.
We feel that.
Yeah, you learn a lot from where you've been.
Absolutely.
So,
people matter.
What are some goals and upcoming plans that you have for your business?
That's a great question. We are once again in unprecedented times, unfortunately, in America. Yeah. So I know that not everyone is as affected by what's going on right now. Everyone's affected in different ways, and there are some companies that aren't affected at all. But what happens when we shift into a capitalistic heavy environment, or we'll stay with that, a capitalistic heavy environment is the nicest way I can say it. We're creating an economy that's built for large businesses and conglomerates, and we are not that. We're a small business. We sell, we're like 1 to 2 million in income, so it's not like we're huge, but we've always done, enough to pay our team really well and keep them happy. The problem is now, so between tariffs, which are insane, so like for one of our products that we were selling, the sign itself is like $7,000. We have a partner in China that we started working with after visiting last year, and they're just like
China. You went to
I did, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm going to side note something here really quickly that, Danlee, I feel like you'll really appreciate. So last year, from September 2023 to September 2024, Russell and I visited every single Disney on Earth.
What?
Whoa.
Yes.
My gosh.
That is extra.
That is amazing.
It is.
I love that you have a partner that's just as excited that as you, because that makes it so exciting.
Yes. We also, on top of that, did 2 Disney cruises and a Disneyland half marathon. We're extra. We know it. It's fine. Like, look, we don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do drugs. Like, this is our drug. This is what we
just
do.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. That's awesome.
So after working and visiting with them last year, we've had them build a few things, and one of the things that they were building was like a $7,000 sign, but after tariffs and duties that have been increased from China, that sign now costs $18,000.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really intense how much it's affecting. That's just our industry. Also the cost of aluminum and steel which comes mostly from Canada. It's just either they're not selling to us, and I don't blame them, or they're just marking up their tariffs as much as possible because, anyway, here we are. We're in construction. We're construction adjacent, and then this is really affecting the construction industry. Our interest rates for real estate are still really high, even commercial real estate, so people aren't buying. And now the cost of materials are going up on top of that. So even people that had properties prior to the interest rate going up, they're not building on those properties. It's almost better to just let them sit vacant. So It's intense. Also, things like LEDs. We don't really have facilities here that manufacture LEDs, like that go into signs. All of those facilities.
Things you just don't think about. Like, I mean, some of the things you're saying about materials from different countries, I'm like, okay, like I've heard of this, where we get certain things, but LEDs, like that's not something I would think about. And it impacts a lot of people that you don't really think about. It's just nuts.
Yeah, so there's just not a facility here. And though, like, in a dream world, like, sure, we would produce everything in the United States, right? Keep all the money here. But it builds years and decades to build that infrastructure, and we don't have it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You have a very multifaceted domino effect.
And you're seeing a lot of angles of it. That's wild.
Yeah.
And very unfortunate.
It is. So
for them too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How does that affect your goals? Like if you, say perfect world, those things weren't happening, which they are, but what would your goals be and what are they?
Yeah, I think eventually we would probably sell out of this industry. I think that's the goal for most small businesses because this isn't the industry that I'd like to be in forever. It's volatile no matter which way. It doesn't matter who's in office. It's a volatile industry.
What industry do you want to be in?
That's a great question.
Okay.
I was going to ask that.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just like run away and own a bookstore.
You'll run away and open.
You're gonna run away and go work for Disney. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, I'm currently working on citizenship to Italy. So I can tie back within 3 generations. We've been working on this since 2020. So we've been working on our citizenship there. We have an attorney that's working on it. We're officially like on the docket to go to court in Italy. So once that happens, I think our end goal is to move to Europe. We've visited Portugal quite a few times. We really like it. I know that's like the hip thing, but Portugal's really nice. We also have visited Paris a few times. We really, really like Paris. So maybe somewhere kind of outside Paris.
Okay.
Or in Portugal. Yeah.
Wow, you're so cool. I love it.
I hope that you're able to sell out of the industry, make a boatload of money, and get to follow your dreams.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yes. Those are big questions. I know. If someone's asking me what are my dreams in life, I'm like, I don't know.
I can survive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've done a great job so far. It sounds like the past decade that we haven't even really spoken to you has been incredible, eventful. You've developed a lot as an individual and within your business and your relationships, and you've been very successful, and it sounds like very impactful to a lot of people, and that's exactly what we're here for. And the experience-ship individuals like yourself, especially female, it's just amazing to hear your story, and we're just so thankful you wanted to come share it with us today.
Thank you. And it's been so great to see y'all's friendship. I know we haven't seen each other in what feels like a lifetime, but I've obviously had the honor of watching y'all's friendship just blossom from what I consider childhood, right? 20s to now. You guys have grown into such great people, and it's so great to see that you're still connected and you have such a strong bond. It's really cool. At least something good came out of that hellhole.
I mean,
that's
true.
Came out of it, yeah.
It's true. Floyd's has come up on many episodes, I feel like.
It's trauma.
But this is true. We have something good that came from it, and you're right. So it's very blessed for that. Yes. I mean, I still talk to Lanice, and I have to say that's one of my favorite. Yes, so one of my favorite things that came out.
So sweet.
Y'all were so close to, right? So that doesn't surprise me.
She was one of my bridesmaids in my wedding.
Really? Wait, I didn't know that. Oh my God, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Did she have purple hair still?
She did.
Is she still now?
Yeah, it's lilac-y. Yeah, it's lighter and shorter. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Love that. Lanice, she was the best boss on the planet. Such a kind soul.
Yeah, she was always so understanding too. I think that's the best part.
Absolutely. She taught me a lot, honestly, on how to be a good leader.
We all need people like that in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again. We're so happy. This was just wonderful. Great catching up. And
thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time on
the Experience-ship Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.
And if you're feeling fancy, leave us a review wherever you stream.
Bye.